Drop Dead Fred is a magical film about the long-term effects of childhood trauma, including overwhelming depression, anxiety, and obedience to a status quo enforced by long-term abusive parties. It stars our protagonist Elizabeth, who had all the joy and magic trampled out of her by her overbearing and controlling mother, Polly. Elizabeth's also recently separated from her suave but scummy husband, Charlie. He's trying to keep her as side game while dating other women. With Elizabeth's happiness and individuality crushed, her life is stuck in a miserable rut, until her childhood imaginary friend, Drop Dead Fred, reappears. He aims to take her on a whirlwind adventure to rediscover the joy she'd locked away so long ago. It's a rough ride, and Elizabeth doesn't go willingly at first. Fred, after all, is a wild spirit. He acts out in defiance of the suffering she's inflicted on herself, making a fool of her in many social circumstances. Of course, if she tackled her inner demons, he wouldn't have to be so bombastic. He's the last spark inside that keeps the magic from fading, so all the noise is absolutely necessary. The primary conflict comes from Elizabeth's struggles with Charlie and Polly. She can't help but fall for Charlie's smooth talk, so she ends up rushing back to his side. And she's afraid of her mother because Polly imparted long-lasting scars on Elizabeth's psyche. In order to overcome these antagonistic forces, she has to confront her past, recalling all the suffering and tragedy that led to this state, including her father leaving, and the exact moment she shut down emotionally. As the layers of Elizabeth are peeled back, so too are the layers of Charlie and Polly. Charlie is a vain, narcissistic Lothario who's probably never really loved anyone, and his romantic smooth talk is just empty air. And Polly's only real power over Elizabeth is the ability to harm her emotionally. With that revealed, the silver bullet couldn't be simpler. Elizabeth must stand up for herself. She doesn't exist to sate Charlie's sexual desires, nor does she exist to keep her mother from a life of loneliness. Elizabeth exists for Elizabeth, to be herself. It's a film about breaking free of the suffocating constraints of abuse and rising up to be your true self in spite of the world's design to crush your spirit. At the time of release, critics seemed to tragically miss the point, solely because Drop Dead Fred didn't fit into pre-established notions of tone or storytelling. But why should it? And why should you? Be your own special, beautiful self and communicate your passions openly. You've only got one life to live. Don't spend it placating greedy husks like Charlie or desperate dictators like Polly. Hey, it's the end of the video. Did you know I have a Patreon? It's true. If you grab certain tiers there, you can directly influence what content I make next. Or you can just offer general support. Both are lovely, and some equally lovely people are already signed up. People I will list for you now. My wonderful supporters are iPompous, Anonymous, Jay, Marth Sinclair, Mighty Minimalist Power Rangers, Sam Anderson, Some Call Me Anto, and Wapoza. A link to the Patreon is in the description. Thank you all so much for your time and thoughts, and I'll talk to you in the next video.